Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us. My name is Sheila Singham. I'm the founder and managing partner of Human Equations Sindiri and Berhad. We are a company that does talent development, coaching, consultancy, facilitation work. When this MCO started, basically work came to a halt for me because being in the business of training, I go to clients' premises and I conduct training face to face. So when business stopped, I sat down and I said, what can I do? Because if I had to sit at home for weeks on end not doing anything, I'd go mad. I'm sure many of you feel that way. We decided to create a number of platforms to interact with people and, tell people what we're doing, get people to talk to each other. And one of this is these series of web forums where we invite people, experts in their field, consultants, CEOs, C-suite, or business owners to come in and talk about their experiences, but with a particular purpose or particular topic in mind. Another thing we decided to do was to have 7-minute interviews with different people, or from the corporate sector, and it's called, guess what? 7 minutes with Sheila Singham. All right, so we try and keep it to under 7 minutes because we know the attention span from personally doing online learning after 7 minutes you zone out. And then we also have Humans Under Lockdown, which is where our consultants just talk to anybody from children, teenagers, students, older people, working people, non-grandmothers, to talk to them about their experiences, and we call it Humans Under Lockdown. Today, I would like to welcome to our web forum, which is titled Customer Expectations in the New Norm. I'd like to welcome Mr. Raymond Devadas, the CEO of DayThree Business Services and President of the Contact Center Association of Malaysia. Good afternoon, Raymond. And then there is Michelle Liu, who is the Senior Vice President and Head of Group Customer Experience with the RHB Banking Group. And we have Pek To Lam, the Head of the Residential Sales and Lettings of International Property Consultants Rahim and Co. Thank you so much for agreeing. I know it's been somewhat of a short notice because we've had holidays galore going on last week and this week. And so really appreciate you all being here. And to our audience listening in, thank you for tuning in. I hope it's going to be a productive time for you. Without further ado, I'm going to sort of address the panelists, the first question to the panelists. You're all from different industries, quite varied industries. So I'm sure the perspective that all of you are going to share today is going to be diverse and rich and very exciting. So the first question is, how have customer expectations, we're focusing on customer expectations here, changed in your industry in the current environment? Meaning, have you seen any new trends in the expectations emerging? Perhaps I'll start first with Raymond. You could tell us?
Yes, Sheila, sure. Just a quick introduction of the industry that I belong. I run a contact center industry, and what that really means is that while I have 20 to 25 customers that I serve, these customers in turn serve the public and the masses, and therefore I serve the entire Malaysian population, about 30 million people who call into our contact centers, and also from outside outside Malaysia as well as from the region. And we handle about close to over half a million interactions a month, talking to different people in different industries. And some of the things that we are learning over this period of time is that, I think as we talk about customer expectation, it's very important to first understand the change in behavior and what's really changed, what is really changing the behavior. And obviously, I think for all of us, we know that, number one, the fact that those are working from home, the restriction to public gathering, number one, the restriction to travel is number two. And what we're noticing, number three, is what's coming on top of the order is also hygiene. Hygiene issues are driving how people react and how customers react in terms of behavior. So as I've been, been in touch with and been speaking at quite a few webinars and, in recent weeks, and this term new norm keeps cropping up, so much has become a cliche. Some of them call it the next normal, some call it the new norm and stuff like that. But it's very interesting that I read this article recently about the shift from what we were talking about 2 years ago, the digital economy, right? As we went for many conferences in the last 2 years, we spoke about this VUCA world, and we really spoke about digital transformation, and we were worried that for our jobs because so-called bots and artificial intelligence were going to take over our lives. But today we're not talking about digital economy so much, but we're talking about a concept of low-touch economy because we are distant and we're beginning to see the consequences of a low-touch economy. This being interacting with customers from a distance rather than on face-to-face. And what it really means for us in the industry is that we are seeing customers wanting or demanding sort of a more contactless economy. Therefore, that's driving the needs. Everything needs to be contactless. We talk about how our goods and services are being delivered. We do a lot of work for the e-commerce organizations in the region. And that's become the forefront. Number one is how do we reach out to customers using apps, using digital tools, number one. And number two is also from the logistics aspect when the goods are actually eventually delivered to your homes, there is this issue, or rather a damage of trust, because people begin to think, are the products that I'm receiving, are they clean? Have they been sanitized? So therefore, its focus is forcing businesses to look at things differently, because today you will begin to see that proof of hygiene becomes an important aspect in a customer expectation. So I see one is this proof of hygiene becoming a big thing because a lot of customers are demanding for this. Number two is also the person who is delivering the products to you. How sure are you that he is not infected or anything of that sort? So organizations now need to be more transparent when it comes to health status declaration of their people. So we're beginning to see that this period, the last maybe 6 to 8 weeks, the demands are changing. People are expecting these new norms, so to speak. So two things that I'm seeing, very rapidly is, number one is the need for a contactless business environment, economy, number one, and number two, this issue of hygiene becomes absolutely important, because everything is a question mark. People don't trust you when you say that, oh, look, my product is sanitized and stuff like that. So these are two aspects that are really changing customer behavior and customer expectation that I'm finding during this period.
Thank you, Raymond. Thank you. Pecto, what about you? How have customer expectations changed in your industry?
Okay, as you know, I'm in the property line, and we need to have this face-to-face. It's very hard to work. So if you ask me what sort of expectations have changed during the MCO, there was nothing much we could do during the MCO, frankly speaking, because first of all, you may not have to meet your client face-to-face to talk about a property, but you still need to show the property. And we were not allowed inspections until last week. So what we actually did was, in order to keep in touch with the customers, so it's a bit not answering your question directly, is actually we actually then took home the database of all our clients, and we actually called them. Made a few hundred calls to just talk to them about the listing that they have, and ask them if they have any other listings, because we also want to get an indication, perhaps from talking to them, whether how do they feel about the MCO, for instance? Do they think the prices was going to go up, go down, or was anybody desperate to say, please sell for me after the MCO? But everybody seemed to be quite docile, I think, because I think when it first hit as well, nobody knew what was going to happen. 2 weeks, and then 1 month, and then 1.5. So it just went longer and longer. So in terms of the expectations, we did all we could. We took down new listings, post them to see whether we get inquiries, just to help, just to create more interest for our customers.
So having said that, the expectations, are they adopting a wait and see attitude, or are there people, who are saying, no, let's just, if there are people ready to buy, we're ready to sell because it could go down,
Yeah. So for the seller part, it's a lot of wait and see. For the buyers as well. Now, for the foreign investors, those have been keeping touch with me online, emails, because they're also locked down. They can't come to the country. Their expectation, however, is that the price would be down. They are thinking that we'll get better pricing after the whole COVID case is over. And they are actually quite keen to see how the market is going to be.
Okay, great. And Michelle, in your industry, the banking industry?
Okay, banking industry, my customers are generally the rugyards of Malaysia. So everyone in Malaysia. So I think when it comes to everybody, we recently hear Bank Negara's study, and they have actually shared their research. Bank Negara actually expect up to 950,000 people to be unemployed by this year. And we're looking at SMEs that's impacted because of this COVID-19. It started as early as February for us. We have SMEs like dentists, like hair salons, small businesses, all cannot open during this time. We have even bigger businesses, commercials like hotels, airlines, tour companies, malls, they are all impacted. So I guess from a banking